Hello everybody, welcome to the Sew Now What podcast. My name is Carrie and we are on episode 10. Oh my gosh, we're on 10. That's super exciting because I didn't know where this was going to go when I first started it, and I'm on episode 10, which is kind of cool. Today's June 8th, 2016. And I have my windows open today. We've been having some really hot weather. We went from over the weekend like 60s, which was nice because we were putting in our patio. And then within a couple of days we were at 100 and stayed at around 100 for a couple of days. So today's actually cooler. The clouds are kind of coming in, but it's allowing me to just have the windows open, which feels super good. So you may hear some background noise as cars and things go by, but I'm going to ignore them because by me getting distracted, I think it distracts you, and you don't need me to tell you that there's a car going by. You can just hear it. So anyway, welcome. My name is Carrie. Like I said, I live in Oregon. If you are a new viewer, this is a podcast about knitting and quilting and craftiness and creativity. If you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back. Thank you to everyone who has subscribed. That's super cool. Super cool because, like I said, when I first started this, I had no expectations whatsoever. I just wanted to connect, and it's kind of funny because I was talking to my mom about the podcast and stuff, and she's kind of surprised that I was doing it. And I said, yeah, I am too, because I generally don't even like pictures of myself. So for me to go out into the interweb is a pretty big deal. But I've been having a ball, and I appreciate you joining me and riding this ride with me. You can find me on Instagram as Carrie_S. You can find me on Ravelry as CarieS. And we do have a Sew Now What podcast Ravelry group. So come join. We've got a giveaway. I've got a giveaway going. Me and Millie, my dog Millie, I guess. I've got a giveaway going with the cowl that I'm hosting, and I'll talk about that in a few minutes. My format's not my format, but it may sound a little bit different. I have a microphone now, and I got it because I didn't want to have the camera so close to me, and I had to have the camera close to me so that you could hear me. So now I can have the camera a little bit further away, and hopefully you can hear me. So hopefully this sounds okay, and that it works out. So that's why it may sound a little bit different. If there's any weirdness or anything you need to let me know, let me know. One thing that I do on the podcast, if you have been watching, you're familiar with it, but for you new viewers, I generally have a quilt that I've made or have quilted on the design wall behind me. So today's quilt is a very special quilt. This is a quilt I made back in 2006. And it is called a wholecloth. So a wholecloth quilt means there's no piecing. It is just one piece of fabric. And the design of the quilt is just the quilting. So this is just a piece of muslin that I quilted. And I had signed up for a workshop with a machine quilter, Karen McTavish. Karen McTavish is extremely well known in the quilting industry, particularly machine quilting. She's pretty much a quilting rock star, and she's kind of my quilting idol. And I had signed up for a workshop with her to do a whole cloth, and I had purchased her book. I think she just had one book out at the time, maybe two. I think she had a couple books out. But anyway, I purchased her book to learn how to do a whole cloth. And then she had this workshop coming up, and I thought, well, I don't want to go to this workshop like really green, like not really knowing what I was doing. I had only been machine quilting maybe 6 months when I started it. And so through the instructions in the book and the patterns that were in the book, I made this. And basically what I did is I took a piece of muslin, which has got no print on it. It's just a cream colored fabric. And I drew on the muslin the design. with a pen that washes out when you wash it, water-soluble pen. And this is actually considered a shadowed Trapunto. As you can kind of see, like the designs are white and then this background looks kind of yellow. The way I did that is I drew out the design, and this is all a technique she taught in her books and stuff. I loaded on my, wasn't even a long arm at the time, it was just a hobby quilter. Loaded it on the machine with just batting and the piece of muslin. Batting and the piece of muslin. And then I stitched around all my drawn lines to get the outlines. Then I take it off and you clip away all the negative space. So say I like stitched around the flower, and I would trim very carefully, trim around the flowers and leave the batting where the flower was going to be, but cut away the batting here. So then I ended up with a piece of muslin with like splotches of batting on it where these designs were going to be. So then I loaded, to get it fully quilted, loaded another piece of muslin for the back, and batting. I used wool batting because wool batting, I love wool batting. Wool batting, you can quilt the snot out of it and it will still stay flexible. If you use a polyester batting, even sometimes cotton battings, and if you heavily quilt them, they will be as stiff as a board. This is still flexible. This is still a quilt. So I had the muslin on the bottom, then the batting, and then a neon piece of yellow fabric, and then the top. So what happens is the neon yellow kind of shows through on the muslin that doesn't have any batting underneath it. This had extra batting on it, so the yellow doesn't show through it. And then you quilt it. You quilt it all. Do all the quilting background and the details and all the designs and stuff like that. So it gives you a shadowed effect. So really, and you can tell from the back, that's what the front should look like. That's just muslin. You can hardly see the design because it's all just one color. But when you put that neon yellow behind it to give it a soft yellow on the front, it makes a shadow, gives you the shadow Trapunto. Trapunto is stuffed, what does it mean? Like stuffed quilting or something like that. So what I did is I had done this. I had never done a scalloped edge before, so I thought, oh, this quilt told me it needed a scalloped edge. So I looked it up and learned how to do that, and did the scalloped edge, and went to this workshop. And so I go to the workshop, and Karen's like fabulous, and I'm like fangirling and super starstruck because I think she just is awesome. And I went to the workshop, and we're going around saying who we are and what our experiences are, and has anybody ever made a whole cloth before? And I said, yeah, I did. I actually did one out of your book. She goes, oh, do you have any pictures? And I said, I actually have it in the car because I brought it with me. So during break, I went and got it, and she loved it. She actually really loved it. And she says, I'm in the process of writing another book. Do you have good photos of this? And I said, no. I mean, I just made this for me. Wasn't even sure if it was all that good. I had entered it in our county fair, and I got best in show, and I have won several ribbons and stuff with this quilt. But at that point, I had just done the local community county fair. So she said, can I take it home with me? So she lives in Minnesota. And I said, sure. So she took it home so she could have it professionally photographed. And she put it in her book that she was working on. So my quilt is in her book, Quilting for Show. I mean, talk about like the biggest fangirl moment you could possibly ever have. So here's my spread of my quilt. Shows the whole quilt, shows some detail shots. In the back, let's see, I think I even have like I needed a headshot, and I'm like, I'm just me. Like a headshot, seriously? I don't know where it is. Oh yeah, there I am. So, where am I? I'm right there. So, and there's Karen. She's like super cool. She's got dreadlocks and tattoos all over the place, and she's totally rock and roll. She's in a heavy metal band, but she quilts the most beautiful quilts you've ever seen. So yeah, so that's kind of my claim to fame, I guess. But anyway, it was a very, very special quilt for me, just in the fact that it was super cathartic for me to work on, and that my idol loved it and wanted to put it in her book. So I hang that one with pride. It hangs downstairs, and I've never made another whole cloth quilt since then. It is a lot of work. It is very tedious. I might in the future. The hard part is snipping the batting away, and I don't know if my hands can handle much of that, but I mean, that's cool. So that's the story, the long-winded story about the quilt that's on the wall. So I talked earlier in the intro about the quilt-along that I'm hosting. So I'm hosting the Chemo Cap quilt-along, crochet-along. And so the rules of the cowl is to knit or crochet a hat, or as many hats as you want, to be donated for chemo patients. I gave links in last episode, and I will relink, as well as anything else I may need to link in the show notes down below. So the rules are knit or crochet a hat, and put it in. I have a thread in our Ravelry group for finished objects. There's a chatter thread if you want to just chatter and support each other, but in the finished objects thread, to put just your finished hat and how you're going to donate it. Are you going to send it to a particular organization? Are you going to drop it off? We've got a few hats in there already, which is really exciting. At the end of it, oh crud, at the end of it you get a prize. And I didn't bring it with me. Where did I put it? Let me go get the prize. Okay, so the prizes that you can win, I'm going to do random number generator when the cowl is over. It runs from June 1st to June 30th. So June 30th, the thread will be closed, and the winner that's picked will choose between a crazy sock sack or sock monkey sock sack. And with that comes 2 balls of Patton's Croy self-striping sock yarn. So that'll make a pair of socks. So we've already got, like I said, a few finished hats in the finished objects thread. I'm not going to post in there because each post is an entry, and I'm not going to enter. But I posted this on Instagram. So I have my little mini me here. So this is the hat. This is the Laced Edge women's hat, free pattern on Ravelry. Really easy to make. You only have this little bit of lace on the edge, and then it's just knit till you get the length and decrease. I think I decreased 1 row too many, and I ended up with a little bit of a nipple on the top of the head, but hopefully when the person wears it, that'll kind of stretch out. I made the small. I saw in some of the comments that people were making smalls because they say it stretches really big. I always try on my hats on Jim because I have a big head, so when I try on hats, most hats don't fit me, and if it does fit me, it's usually too big for everybody else. But he seems to have an average size head, even though I tell him he has a pinhead. So he tried it on, and it was a little bit snug for him. So the small is a small. So I'm going to make another one because it was a nice pattern to knit. This yarn was really, really nice to work with, and I'm going to make the medium next. So the yarn is Cascade Yarns Ultra Pima, and so this is my next color, this really soft pink color. And it calls for size 6 needles, which size 6 seems to be a very, very popular size. So I had to go and get some new needle tips because my size 6s are in a project. And I bought some new to me. They're Knitter's Pride Nova Platina. I don't know if you can see this. Maybe if I do that. I like these needles. It interchanges on the cords I already had because I have Knitter's Pride Dreams wood needles, which I like, but I'm finding the more I knit and maybe like the more experienced I get, they feel a little dull. These don't feel dull. They have a nice tip. They slid really nice. I did buy a new cord, and the cord ended up being really stiff, like it wasn't the same as my usual cords. So luckily I already had a cord, I just needed the tip. But I would buy a set of these. They have a really nice tip. Like I said, the join's really smooth. It's not hanging up at all. It knitted this cotton beautifully. So, no, I don't, cost-wise, I think they're in there with everybody else, but they were really nice. So I'm definitely going to look into getting a full set of those because I'm always feeling like I don't quite have the right one to start with. So please join the cowl and use hashtag Chemo Cap Cowl 16. I added the 16 on there because I'm hoping to make it an annual thing. It's my birthday month, and that is what I'm asking for my birthday, is for everybody to make a hat, make more than one hat. It's an easy take-along project. We're going into the summer season when people are sitting at the pool or they're going on vacation, going camping, whatever. Hats are super portable. So take along a hat project, post it in the FO thread by June 30th, and you win by getting a prize, but the patients that are going through chemo are the ones that are really the winners. So I really hope that you will join me in that. I want to move now into my works in progress. I've been pretty monogamous. I guess I gotta start with my FOs. I do have a finished object, and I was really, really dedicating myself to this to get it finished because I felt like I kept feeling like I shouldn't be working on anything else until this was done. Look what I have, you guys. I have a pair of finished socks. This was the socks that I made from Gail's Art sock blank. And although I loved working with her yarn that she has, I didn't care for working on the double knit. I found it to be a little cumbersome. And I shared that in the previous episode. It's nothing to do with her yarn. It's nothing to do with her sock blank. It's just the style of knitting when you're pulling two strands of yarn off of the same blank. I will definitely use a sock blank again, but I will use as a single sock. One thing that's nice is they match. They match perfectly. So, yeah, super cool. I do have quite a bit left. Quite a bit. I don't know what you could do with this. I'm not sure how much is left. I haven't weighed it, but this is what's left of the sock blank. You can see I still have some bunnies. Those bunnies are that was what was up here. That's the speckles. So that's kind of cool as you get this, you have this yarn knitted into a blank. You don't really know what it's going to look like, and it's pretty cool. So I might wind these up into some minis because there's still plenty left. This yarn, it's like knitting with top ramen, which is fine for the most part, but it got to be a little bit much. So I started to not enjoy them. One thing I noticed is that this pair of socks is a little snug. They fit, but they're a little snug, and I don't know if it's the yarn. I don't know if it's how I knitted because of it being from a sock blank. I was watching a podcast, and I don't really know who it was now at the moment, that was saying that she felt like she knitted tighter off of a sock blank. And I thought maybe that was it. But I can still wear them, and I will wear them. But they are snug. But they're super cool. I even bought sock blockers so I could show you, because I don't block my socks. I wash them in the washing machine in a lingerie bag, and then I lay them flat. And that's about as good a care. If I have to block them and fuss with them, I won't wear them, because that's just how I am. So that's my finished object. That's what I was working on. Anytime I wanted to pick up something else, I just kept thinking, nope, finish those darn socks. So I made myself go through it. But what I really, really wanted to work on, and I was able to start working on now once the hat was done and those socks are. So here we're going to go into my works in progress. Maybe I should put this on a sock blocker. I had started my Cookie A monkey socks, and I am in love. In love. So you can see this was my Fibernymph Dyeworks Inversible set. So you can kind of tell here it's gray with like a aqua stripe, and the patterning is just really cool. Hopefully the camera is picking it up. My camera doesn't continually focus, so if I go close to it you won't see it because it'll stay blurry. It'll only focus where I set it to focus. So those are made out of this ball, which is mostly gray with the aqua stripes. So the next sock will be mostly aqua with the gray stripes. So they'll match, but they won't really match. This pattern is really fun, you guys. I had never made a Cookie A pattern before, and I love that it almost looks cabled, but you're not doing cables. The pattern is easy to follow and easy to knit, and it gives it some really neat texture. So I'm getting close to finishing. I don't have a few more inches before I do the toe. I slipped them on last night to see, and they're going to fit really nicely. So these are going a little bit faster too because they're on 2.5s instead of 2.25s. So these are my Addie sock rockets, and they're flying, and I'm really, really liking them. So so that's kind of my current obsession. I feel now that I got my vanilla socks that I made with Gail's sock blank, and now that I've got that finished, I feel like I can kind of move on and kind of put in some time on some of the other projects I have on the needles, because I kind of bought some more yarn. I just figure I'm doing my part to stimulate the economy. So, you know, we all have to do our part, and you know, I do what I can. So I'm going to move now into my new stuff. I don't really have a name for the segment because acquisitions, I don't know. A lot of people use that. I'll come up with something kitschy. We'll see. So anyways, here's on to my new stuff. I was online, I think it was on Instagram, and Pandia, what is it? Pandia's Jewels posted, what did she post? Something like she was having a sale, and with the purchase of her yarn, then you got a free stitch marker or something like that. I thought, oh, what the heck? Her yarn is so pretty. Look at this. Oh my gosh, there's so many pretty colors in here. I mean, it just goes like so deep into the different colors. And every time I open it up a little bit, I find new colors, and it is so nice. I mean, look at all that. So this is fingering weight yarn. It's her squidgy base, which is 100% superwash merino. So it's nice and soft and squidgy. This is the dark Enchantress colorway. I wonder if I can open it. Oh, I'd have to take the tag off. I don't know. You guys, there's so many depths of color in this skein of yarn. It just, I mean, look at even in the green, it gets really dark in there. I can't wait to cake this up. So here's my thing. I want to use this in a shawl. I was thinking of the Pure Joy shawl, which uses 2 colors, and it adds like an eyelet rose that are done in a contrasting color. And then the border, there's like a border in that same contrasting color. So what I'm not sure of is this has so many colors in it, and it goes from like lights to dark. It's just really pretty. Anyway, you guys, there's like this gold color. Oh, I mean, seriously, she did a fabulous job with the colors. So anyway, back to my dilemma. is what color do I use as the contrasting color? Because there's so many colors in here. And maybe that pattern isn't the right pattern for this. It has a lot of yardage. It has 490 yards with 100 grams. So this is a beefy skein. And so there's enough to do something pretty fabulous with it. So I wondered what your suggestions were. You guys know I like all colors. Yellows, like this green is nice, but I can't wear it necessarily close to my face because I have kind of a yellowish tint to my skin. So what color goes with it? If this doesn't work for that shawl, and I'm not totally set on the shawl, I do like the look of it and the style of it because it's not super deep, but it's longer, so you can wrap it kind of scarf wise, but it doesn't go so deep here, and it's not so bulky right here. My other option is another yarn I got from Jellybeans yarns. This came out of the UK, and I don't know how I found it on Etsy, but I did. And it came, she was having a sale because she's going on vacation. It's like take 15% off or something like that. And I thought, oh, okay, because I always love a sale. And the sale, basically, the discount helped with the shipping because it came from the UK. And I got it pretty quickly. And it's beautiful. It's just got, and it's called Seahorse Nebula, which you can see all these gorgeous colors in here. It's a nice sock yarn, 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon, 100 grams with 400 yards. So it kind of has like a charcoaly gray base and with all these soft but intense colors. So this was my other choice for the Pure Joy, is I could use this because it doesn't have so many colors. I could pick like a purple or a pink to go with it. But even like these little splashes of cobalt blue, I mean, beautiful yarn. And I love the kind of charcoal gray base to it. So that's my other option. So any suggestions, even if there's a shawl that you want to suggest? I love graphic prints. So the Pure Joy's got kind of a graphic style. There's another one I have in my projects, or not in my projects, in my favorites, that has, what's it called? I don't remember. And it doesn't matter because I'm not, I may make it, I may not. But it has kind of these like diagonals that kind of intersperse with each other. That was random, and you guys aren't going to have a clue what I'm talking about. So scratch that. Okay, so another new to me purchase is something I got from the Cozy Knitter. I love watching the Dye Another Day podcast with Amanda and Christina. And Christina is the Cozy Knitter, and she dyes self-striping sock yarn. And I got her Friends for Life colorway. So this colorway is I think a limited colorway that she put out, and some of the proceeds of the sales go to charity. And I'm not exactly sure what the charity was. I can't remember. But it's going to be really fun because it's got this for heels, toes, what do you call it? Cuff, heels, and toes, or toes, cuffs, and heels, or whatever. And so it's got this dark gray, and then there's a lighter gray with kind of a cream and this like corally color. It's going to be beautiful socks. I'm thinking I'm going to do the geek socks with them because it looks really cool with the stripes. And these are like definite stripes. So that's going to be my next sock to cast on when I get done with my monkey socks. So quick to get here. Loved it. I think it's cool. I'm dying to cast this on. So yeah, and I was going to do contrasting heel and toe when I did my Hermione Everyday socks. And when I got through the heel, I forgot that that's what I was going to do, and I forgot that I needed to change my yarn, and so I didn't. And so my Hermione Everyday Socks, which was supposed to have this bright pink heel and toe, didn't. So I'm going to try and remember. Put that in here. So Christina did a great job. Oh, back to my Pandia Jewels yarn. This is the stitch marker I got that she made, and it's a skull and crossbones over. It's just a circle, but I think it's supposed to be a ball of yarn with knitting needles are the crossbones. So really cute. She makes them. I don't know how she makes them, but they're pretty cool. So so that was a neat thing to get. Another thing that came up, I've mentioned before, Very Pink Knits with Stacy. She has a YouTube channel. She has a website. She's my go-to when I'm not sure how to do something. She has great tutorials. She explains it in a way that I can understand. And she's just recently come out with a Color My Cowl. And it's going to be a knit along. And I'm not sure that I'm going to make it. I love the idea. And it's color work, which I've never done before, and I thought it could be kind of fun to do it on this. But it's this really long, more of like an infinity scarf that you wear as a cowl, but it's pretty wide. And so you double that up, and to me that just seems claustrophobic and hot. So I don't know that I'm going to do it. But if you're interested in trying color work and you like that style of cowl, go to her website, and she has these coloring pages that you can print off. Art by Paula Pertile. Her Etsy shop is Drawings of Knitting, and so she came up with this graph, and it's little knitting stitches. And the idea is you color this in the way that you would like your cowl to be. And so you print off as many as you want, play with the colors, get an idea of how your cowl will look, and then she's going to do a knit along. And so I thought it would be really cool, but that's a lot of color work to do a big, long scarf type thing, an infinity scarf, all in color work. And so I thought, I don't know if I would stick to it. I don't know if I would wear it. I even thought, what if I made it, the pattern isn't out yet. She's going to announce it when she starts the knit along. And it's for worsted weight. And I thought, what if I did it in fingering weight? Would color work show up in fingering weight? Or is it better to have that thicker yarn so that your colored work shows up? So if anybody's done color work before and can shine some light on that for me, because I think if I did it in fingering weight, that I might wear, because then it wouldn't end up being, because it's almost this wide, and what you do is you knit it like in a tube, so all your color work stuff's on the inside and it doesn't show. So you've got double thickness, as well as it being wide and long. To me is just, I don't live in Siberia, and so I wouldn't wear it. But in fingering weight, I might. So if anybody has any tips on that, I would certainly appreciate. Let me know. I'll leave a comment below. Message me on Ravelry or Instagram or something, and let me know if you think fingering weight yarn would work. Because if it would, I think I'm going to try this. I haven't colored it in yet, obviously, because here's a blank page. But I want to try. I want to try color work, and that might be a good way to do it, where you're inside your carryovers, or I don't know what you call them when you carry the yarn over, when that isn't going to show. So that's going to be kind of my next long-term project. I really need to work on getting stuff that's on the needles off the needles, because it's stressing me out. It's really stressing me out that I have projects that aren't being worked on and aren't finished. It's like I need to finish something before I start something else, but I can't knit fast enough. I get too many new ideas, and I get new yarn, and I think I would just really want to do it all. So I'm going to kind of concentrate on getting some of the stuff done that I've got started. I have a few new bags, and I have posted these on Instagram, so you may have seen them if you follow me on Instagram. But here's a couple. These are kind of retro looking to me, I think, because of the colors, because you've got the browns and the greens, and kind of a wonky diamond design, and this beautiful kind of retro colored lining with pockets. I still have to put zipper pulls on them. So this one and this one, same fabrics but just done in a diagonal. This is some fabric that I quilted. It's kind of a ocean blue, Caribbean. I think that's even called Caribbean blue with some. I quilted it with variegated thread in like stacked rainbows. So I have three. I have this one with a yellow zipper. They all have this coral fabric inside with pockets. I have the yellow zipper, the orange zipper, and a blue zipper. So those are all in my shop. I haven't been able to make very many more because it got so hot that even though I have air conditioning in my house, my studio space here is over the garage and it tends to stay really warm and it gets to be too hot for me to sew. Because when you sew anything, quilting or bags or whatever, you need to use an iron. And an iron heats up the room and the lights and everything, and it just gets really hot. It ends up being about 80 degrees up here. So I moved all my sewing stuff downstairs to the dining room and set myself up down there, and I did get those bags done then. So it's supposed to cool off. Today is a lot cooler, like I mentioned earlier, so I'm hoping now I gotta haul all my stuff back upstairs and make some more bags. I have been quilting. I'm on my last quilt now for the Mama Made It quilt shop, and so it's taking some time because it's a custom job and it's slow. So that's what I've been working on for that. So that's all I have today. Thank you so much for joining me. Please join our Chemo Cap cowl, knit or crochet a hat. Like I said, I will give all the links to everything down in there. If you have any questions, message me either on Ravelry or on Instagram. And okay, my neighbors decided to start his truck and it's just running, so hopefully you can't hear that as much. Maybe you just hear me because of the microphone. It's like, really? You're gonna do that right now? Anyway, we're gonna go camping the week after next, and so I may do a quick video next week to just kind of check in. And then I can show you what I did on the dye day and just kind of check in with you. So please join the Chemo Cap cowl. Please, please, please. I mean, please. You know why. I've explained why. So, oh my gosh, now the exhaust is coming right up my window. I gotta close the windows. So I'm gonna sign off now. Thank you so much for watching. Oh my gosh. That's so gross. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe like I said before, and I will catch you next time. So happy knitting, you guys.